This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on April the 19th, 2013. Our time is 8:45 in the morning Mountain, 10:45 Eastern. Radio shows run News Talk 1010 in Toronto, 630 CHED in Edmonton, also News Talk 770 in Calgary. On the radio, online, on Harold's websites, HESradio.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. The shows are archived there. We also have a podcast. Harold does daily market commentary. We have our radio show there too. It's through iTunes. Type in World Financial Report on Radio. Have iTunes on your iPad, iPod, also your iPhone. The radio show is portable. We go anywhere you do. And what a crazy week it has been. Before we get to precious metals, out of Boston, the Boston Marathon, right at the very end, where all the runners were winding up, we had bombs go off. And what a tragedy it was. Now, as we tape this morning, they have shot one of the alleged bombers and are searching for his brother. They're concerned that he may have something wrapped around him where he could ignite himself. So it's a very treacherous situation. Boston is in lockdown. Just a very crazy situation as we tape on a Friday morning. On the precious metal side of things, last Friday we had a major pullback. The slide continued to Monday. In the short term, obviously a lot of pain for those in the hard asset market. But what we're finding, and this is all over the world, people are using this as an opportunity to buy more hard assets, gold and silver, platinum, palladium, people dipping into the diamond market in a very, very strong way. We're hearing all over the world lineups for precious metals. Coming up in the second half of the show, we will talk about diamonds, major diamond news. A pink diamond sold for $39 million this week. A D flawless white sold for $14.2. Those stories you do not want to miss. And Harold, as we've said before, buy things they can't print because of what's going on in the world right now today. Don't be fooled by those that say that quantitative easing is ending. We're starting to see the economies of the world and even in the United States, companies reporting their stock earnings not doing well, and economies, Britain, their unemployment going up, their economy going down. It's something that's starting to spread all over the world. Quantitative easing will continue for a long, long time.
You better believe it will, Randy. What a crazy, crazy week. And again, our hearts go out to everybody who was affected in Boston. The stories out of there are just so heartbreaking, especially with the kids and all that. It's just a terrible, terrible time, Randy. You know, this type of news is happening all over the world now. It's almost like governments and everybody is so desperate at this point. It's very, very concerning. As we're taping the show on Friday morning, you're right. The precious metals, the commodity markets, the stock markets all over the world have been extremely volatile this week. You know, last week when we taped the show, gold was down $75 on the day and silver was down over $1, and then it carried through Monday. Just to show you how important those support and resistance levels are, you know, we always said that if gold was to break the 1520 level, there's heavy support at 1520, but once it breaks 1520, the market could fall substantially because of all these stop positions or these sell orders just under the market, and that's what happened. As soon as gold broke 1520, these orders got filled and the market plummeted all the way down to the low 1300. So there is very heavy support in gold at 1300 because that's the break-even point for the mines to break even on gold. So again, if gold was to break below 1300 and fall, it's very possible that some of the gold mines would shut down until the market corrected itself. Very similar situation for silver. Silver was down heavily last Friday, and then when it opened up Monday morning, it dropped another $2. And again, that important level of $26 that I've always spoken about, once it got broken, the market fell down to the low 23s, and again, the market did what it was supposed to do. Now, the thing that's really sickening about this is that none of this ever should have happened. There is nothing fundamental in the markets or technical in the markets that would have caused gold and silver and oil and everything else to fall that way. It was almost like it was an orchestrated situation. And again, the way that I'm looking at things is that the government at this point their attitude is do it and deal with the consequences later. Everybody knows what's going on in gold and silver. Some people are shaking their head and saying this is impossible to happen, and I'm one of them. I've traded commodities for 35 years. I've traded gold and silver back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I've traded oil successfully in currencies for most of my trading life. And the basics of trading is supply and demand. And the demand for gold and silver physically has never, ever been stronger. In fact, there's hardly any physical gold and silver available at all. We know that the Canadian mints and the U.S. mints that mint these beautiful silver coins that are very profitable do not have any physical silver. So how in the world is it possible for silver to drop from $50 down to $22, $23 if there's no silver around? Now, it would be one thing if there was no use for silver, if silver was just a nothing metal that had really no use. But silver is used in almost everything. It's used in computers, in medical, in minting of coins, in dentistry, in film, in almost every single thing that is done, silver is used. It's impossible under normal circumstances, under a fair market condition, it is impossible for gold and silver to do what it did last week. But the fact that it did it obviously makes it not impossible, and that's why I say do it and deal with the consequences later, because, again, there's no basis for gold and silver to have done what it did, except that the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the federal government, is pathetic at their job. There's no way in the world that anybody would look at a market like gold and silver and oil and everything that happened last week and say that that is a normal market condition. And what my thinking is on this situation is that the banks in the U.S. are in huge trouble. They have been since 2007, 2008. We know in 2008 when the mortgage crisis hit and the banking crisis hit and the banks owed trillions and trillions of dollars and the U.S. government bailed out these banks. What happened to all that debt? That debt is still there. They've just prolonged the agony of dealing with it. So these banks are basically insolvent at this point. That's how frightening the situation is with the banking situation. And add to the fact of what happened in Cyprus last month, and now we know that what happened in Cyprus could happen in North America at the snap of a finger. You put your money in the bank, that money belongs to the bank. The bank is paying you interest, even though it's a pathetic 1 to 2%, they're paying you interest. If that bank becomes insolvent, you lose your money. They're going to take your money away from you. Now, there's insurance on bank accounts. There's insurance in Canada on $100,000 that will guarantee a bank account. But if you're sitting with $500,000 sitting in your bank account and that bank goes under, you're going to lose $4 out of the $500,000 that you put in. And the fear is what's happening in the U.S. The FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Company that guarantees bank accounts in the U.S. up to $250, that may sound all well and good. Hey, you got $250,000 worth of insurance on your account. But do you realize that there's $10 trillion worth of deposits in U.S. banks and only $68 billion in FDIC to back it up? That's why Russia sent out the memo that they did last week. That's why Russia said to their citizens and business owners that deal in Western banks like North America to get your money out of there. Because the fact is, it doesn't add up. $10 trillion worth of bank deposits being guaranteed by $68 billion worth of insurance. It makes no sense. It sounds like a catastrophe getting ready to happen. The fact is that things are really going south in the United States at this point. If you look at the stock market, you think that everything is okay, that things are improving. I can assure you it isn't. I'm a Canadian living and dealing in the United States, for the last 30 years, and I know when things are good and when they're not good. And I can tell you that the economy here is not good and business is not good. So many people are complaining about retail and restaurant business is way down and all that type of thing. And as Randy mentioned at the beginning of the show, the earnings that are coming out at this point are not all that strong. So the fact is that the Federal Reserve in the U.S. is putting $85 billion a month, $85 billion a month into the stock market to make certain that the stock market holds up. But the stock market's been down 3 days in a row, and the fact is it's getting into a very, very dangerous position. People that are in the know are saying that this market looks like it's getting ready to fall and fall heavily again. It could drop 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% like we saw in 2008. You got to reduce your risk at this point here. The fact is that we've always said don't heavily leverage anything. Own physical gold. Own physical silver. I can assure you that I own a lot of gold and silver that I bought when we first started the show 10, 12 years ago. I haven't sold any of it because I'm not a trader in the sense that I'm not buying in and out of the market. You can't make money when you're in and out of the marketplace. If you believe that this market is going to go higher based on currency devaluation, inflation by printing all this money, and everything that's happening that is detrimental to the U.S. and world economies, then you have to own gold. Because there's just no way in the world that gold is not going to go up. The confusing thing and the infuriating thing is that gold dropped $200 in 2 days when there was absolutely no reason for it except that a bank or two in the United States was allowed to short the market and cause all this havoc in the market. The CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, that's supposed to be policing this industry, is absolutely the worst I've ever seen, because again, when you turn your head, and the CFTC is supposed to be watching out for the individual speculators and investors in the market. So you turn your head and you say you don't realize that the markets are trading like this, or you don't acknowledge it when markets don't trade like that. If markets traded like that, nobody would invest in the commodity markets. A $200 drop in gold, and you know what else is pathetic and sickening, is the fact that Goldman Sachs said 2 days before this was going to happen that it was going to happen. So how in the world do they go all over the internet, all over the news wires, to all of their clients and to everybody in the world that's listening that gold is going to plummet in 2 days? How do they know that? Unless they were the cause of it and had inside information. Bottom line is that if you own physical gold and silver, don't sell it. Unless you're so nervous that you believe, whatever you're going to believe that the market is not going to go up, then sell out of it. Myself personally and everybody that I know that's in the marketplace is definitely holding and buying. The problem is there's hardly any physical silver and any physical gold to buy. So here's what I see in the market. At this point here, gold went back over 1,400 today. Minor resistance level at 1,400. It's no big deal. The important numbers for gold are $1,300 gold and $1,250 on the downside. If we do see one more drop in gold, and it does drop below 1,300 to 1,250, I believe that would be the bottom of the market. 1,250 is a very, very important number. 1,520 was an important number, but 1,250 is extremely important, and I do not believe that gold is going to break down below that number. Silver, we need to see silver. Well, it broke $26, got down to the high 22s. There's very heavy support at the $22 level and at $21.50. And I do not believe that silver will break below that. However, these markets have done nothing but make liars of us over the last few months. And again, it really bothers me tremendously because, again, the reasons that we recommended these markets are strong, stable, substantial reasons for being in this market, and none of those reasons have changed. Currencies are being devalued all over the world. Look what's happening in Japan. Japan is a disaster. What they decided to do after 2 decades of recession and a stock market that was at 20,000 at one point and is now sitting at 13,000, the fact is that Japan decided to devalue their currency so strong that they're bringing it down to almost zero. And that's going to bring on massive inflation. They've already acknowledged that. But their problems are so severe that that's what they're doing. And all they're doing is following the United States and Europe, who's doing the exact same thing. So the bottom line is that there is no doubt in my mind that we are going to see substantially higher gold and silver prices. I don't mean just higher, but substantially higher. And over the next couple of years, I do believe that we are going to see gold come back and make brand new highs and go on to levels that we discussed, a few years ago. There is no physical gold and no physical silver. And every time the market falls, China and Russia and India are buying up all the gold that they can. Why are they doing that? Because it's more than likely going to be the Chinese yuan that is going to be backed by gold. It's going to be a gold-backed currency. And that's what happened in the United States prior, and then they dropped that. So the bottom line is at this point is that no matter how confusing the markets are, no matter how infuriating they are and how mad we get about it, you got to keep a sensible head. You can't get emotional about what's going on because the trend is always your friend. And even though over the last 2 years this market has gone sideways to down and being forced down by these banks that were in huge financial trouble, and that's why I believe the Commodity Futures Trading Commission turned their head to what was going on. I just can't get it out of my mind that Goldman Sachs called this 2 days before it happened. So all in all, again, gold right now is trading at $1,405, back over the $1,400 level, very heavy support at $1,312.50. Silver back over $23. We hit a high at $23.62. We need to see silver get back over that $26 level and have a couple closes above that. Platinum's up $4 at $14.27. It's back more expensive than gold right now. Palladium's up $1 at $6.74. Stock market down 47 points. That's the Dow at 14,489. You've got the NASDAQ trading at 3,195. The TSX is up $5 at 12,001. U.S. dollar's been down 3 days in a row. It's down another 16 cents at 82.41, and there is no doubt in my mind that the U.S. dollar will turn out to be a very weak currency, not going to go out of business, going to be a weak currency, and again, that's going to push gold and silver much higher, and oil's on the rebound, finished up strong on Thursday, and is up another 50 cents on Friday, trading at 88.20. The Canadian dollar's trading at 97.5. So all in all, that's what's happening in the markets at this point. If I sound a little angry, I am, because the fact is that these markets are supposed to be free markets. They're supposed to have credibility. And how much credibility is in a market when this type of thing happens? And it's concerning because the governments and the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, they only look at what's happening with banks and businesses. How about the everyday hard-working man and woman that did the right thing, that took their hard-earned money and invested in the right market at the right time, and now the governments, that let these markets do what they're doing at this point, turn a blind eye to it. That's what makes me get mad, and that's why I'm infuriated over this particular situation. However, I'm still a firm believer that where you want to have your money is in hard assets, not in paper assets, because it was the paper asset market that came crashing down. They can only do that in the paper markets. You could never do that in the physical market. They would have had, in order for gold or silver to fall like that, they would have had to say that there was a brand new silver mine that came online and they're producing 100 million ounces of silver or more in a year. That would cause the price of silver to come down, but that didn't happen. The opposite happened. There is no silver. The mints are admitting there's no silver. The governments are admitting there's no silver. People are trying to buy silver physically, and they can't get it. How is it possible for the market to go down? Again, this is a temporary situation, and again, if we've survived it at this point, it's almost over. We're very, very close to the end of this thing, and again, I think that we're going to see this market recover and come back and do what it was supposed to do. That's what I believe is happening, Randy.
Thanks for the update, Harold. Very confusing. A lot of people, though, taking this as an opportunity to add to their position or start a position in precious metals. We'll talk about that here shortly. What do you do? Who do you deal with? Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com. Telephone number 1-866-623-2002. This is the company Harold recommends you use when you invest in gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Good news, they have reduced their fees because of all the purchase demand they have seen here recently. And they can't stress enough, now is a time, because of Cyprus and other scenarios, to look at getting some of your money out of the banking system. Take a look at hard assets. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium. It's money, real money. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals today. And don't forget, when you have a precious metals investment account, instant liquidity in and out of the market when you choose, 24/7. Secure storage insured to the full value of your investment, 24/7 online access, and obviously you'll be using a specialist from Worldwide Precious Metals. Their website, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. And take advantage of their reduced commissions. We're seeing stories that people are lined up to buy precious metals. And we'll get to that here in a second. Greg Hunter, he was with CNN. He interviewed Rick Rule. In the interview, it said extreme nervousness in regards to collapse in gold and silver. Obviously, gold and silver are a must. Rick Rule is with Sprott USA. He said he's not worried about the recent smackdown in gold and silver prices. Rule is motivated by wealth protection. So the price decline is a non-event. What are the alternatives? Perhaps you'd like to buy a 30-year U.S. Treasury, something Jim Grant famously described as a return-free risk. Obviously, you're not getting any return. Rule thinks that the financial world is far from healthy and says, I have extreme nervousness in regards to a collapse. The only way we can avoid collapse is if we inflate away the net present value of our obligations. In both sets of circumstances, I am personally more comfortable owning precious metals than not. Cyprus is a stunning example of why people should store some of their wealth in precious metals. If you're a Cypriot citizen and you had stored your wealth in gold and silver as opposed to having it in a deposit in the bank, obviously the situation would not have been relevant for you. If there's a war in Korea, if a nuke goes off in the Korean Peninsula, the first move in precious metals probably would be down. The second move would be higher. He says he believes precious metals would hold their value over the long term, unlike most other asset classes. And it was interesting, he was interviewed as well by King World News, Eric King, great website, King World News. And he related the story, Rick Rule. A friend of his was using the pullback in precious metals to buy some gold. And he went to the Hang Seng bullion counter. The line was out the door. It took an hour wait just to see a teller. When I asked if people were buying in the dip or selling in panic, she told me that there haven't really been any ounces of gold or silver sold back to them all day. She told me that they have sold more gold in 24 hours than they normally do in 3 months. Yes, there was a lot of extra security. The guy in front of me bought over $1 million in gold. He paid cash and walked out the door with $1 million in bullion in a Nike bag. And that is a story attributed to a friend of Rick Rule. Harold, we have other stories in our newsletter. I encourage people, if you're wanting to know why, you need an understanding of why things are happening the way they are, get our newsletter from Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. Look at adding to your precious metals positions. As Harold, it is happening all over the world. People taking advantage of, as some are saying, a gift to get into these markets at lower levels.
I believe it is a gift. I truly do. Again, the fact is it never should have happened in the first place. However, it did happen. And as they say, you can't fight City Hall. Who are you going to sue in this type of situation? But it does give us an unbelievable opportunity for those of us that believe in precious metals, which obviously a lot of people do because they just can't keep up with the sales at this point, and that's happening all over the world. You know, other things that happened in the United States this week that was extremely concerning was the fact that the gun laws that President Obama was trying to get changed didn't even get past the Senate, and it was the Democrats even that didn't pass it. So that tells you how strong the gun laws are in the United States. I myself personally don't see any way in the world that they wouldn't have passed a new law saying that there should be background checks on people that buy guns. I just don't understand how in the world that never even got out of the Senate, let alone, you know, the assault rifles and things like that. But it just goes to show you how strong the National Rifle Association here is in the United States. And the fact is that it never even got close, even though most people, if you ask them, they would have said, I prefer to have gun laws intact type of thing. So you've got the gun law situation that didn't go well for the president. The Boston situation is one of the worst situations we've seen. It's so heartbreaking to hear all the stories. You've got the situation in North Korea. You got problems again in the Middle East. You've got so much going on at this particular point, and you know, the markets don't always know what to do. But judging by the reason that
we're tight on time, Harold.
Okay, is because of inflation and currency devaluation, and that is definitely going on.
We have a major announcement we're going to make as we come back after the break. Harold is going to be on a television show here in Canada. We will tell you what day and where you need to tune in. You don't want to miss it. As the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us on the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping the show on April the 19th, 2013. Our time is 9:11 in the morning Mountain, 11:11 Eastern. Radio show runs News Talk 1010 in Toronto, 6:30 CHED Edmonton, News Talk 770 in Calgary on the radio, online on Harold's websites. The shows are archived there, rarecolorediamonds.com, HESradio.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in World Financial Report on Radio. You will see Harold's daily market commentary there. You can hear it on the website, hear it through the podcast, and our old radio shows are archived there as well. The radio show is portable. iPad, iPhone, iPod, we go anywhere you do. To invest in precious metals. And we're seeing with this recent pullback, heavy physical buying all around the world. And Worldwide Precious Metals, the company Harold recommends you use, is giving you an opportunity to take advantage of this because they have reduced their fees substantially to keep up with the heavy purchase demand. And now's the time to have some money out of the banking system. Have some real hard assets in your portfolio. Speak with Worldwide Precious Metals. WWPMC.com is their website. The telephone number, 1-866-623-2002, 1-866-623-2002. And as promised, Harold Siegel, he is going to be on television. Yes, our very own Harold Siegel is a TV star. He is going to be on the Lang & O'Leary Exchange on CBC Friday. That is the 26th of April. Lang & O'Leary Exchange. Harold will be on the air with the famous Mr. Wonderful, Uncle Kevin O'Leary. Famous from Dragon's Den, of course, here in Canada, Shark Tank in the United States. But we look forward to seeing Harold on Lang & O'Leary Exchange. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on. Our featured diamond this week is a 0.60 round, brilliant cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink. It is absolutely stunning. And the big news this week, the Princey Diamond, a rare Indian diamond sold at auction for $39 million. And its origin traced back to the ancient diamond mines of Golconda in southern India. It once belonged to the royal family, rulers of one of the wealthiest provinces of India. It was interesting to note, Harold, that the public has not seen this diamond since 1960. And it's amazing to me that back when it was sold, back then it was sold for 46,000 British pounds. 46,000 British pounds, and that would be worth around $70,000. But today, here it is, worth $39 million. Outstanding, to say the least. But it gets better. We have another auction, too. There was another auction that took place during the week. Both were in New York City. This time it featured not a pink diamond, but a white diamond. And this was an exceptional white diamond. It was a 74-carat diamond, and it sold for a price of $14.1 million at Sotheby's New York Magnificent Jewel Sale. And to give you an idea, this diamond was recently sold in 2001 for $4.3 million, sold at auction this week for $14.2 million. Harold, we'll go through some of the auction reports here throughout the show, but 2 auctions from Sotheby's, Christie's, New York City, 2 big diamonds, a pink diamond, and those diamonds you've spoken to us about, the D Eternally Flawless, going for outstanding prices.
I'm very, very happy to see that. You know, the thing is, with all the uncertainty in the markets and everything, you know, as vicious as the market's traded, the thing is about diamonds, they don't trade on an exchange, so you don't get that. Diamonds didn't fall in price. They never fall in price, certain diamonds. And the fact is that what's happening now in the diamond market is almost unprecedented. It's an unbelievable time to be in the diamond market because people are petrified right now about what's happening in the banking industry. You keep your money in the bank and you can wake up the next day and find out that your money has been stolen. So it's never, ever been more important to own the type of asset that you can hold privately, that nobody knows that you own. You know, in the United States now, they're talking tremendously and very seriously about the potential of precious metal confiscation. And the thing is that in Illinois, a couple of weeks ago, a report came out verifying that the government wants to know who owns gold and silver, because they say for taxation purposes. However, some people think it's for confiscation purposes. So that's how frightening it is. The money can be stolen out of your bank account. The government can steal your gold or silver, but they don't know that you own a diamond. And the fact is that diamonds don't fall in price. They go up in value. And the most important thing right now is capital preservation. It's very difficult to even make any money out there without taking a gigantic risk. I mean, you put your money in the bank for 1 or 2% interest, and the money can be taken out of your account if that bank goes insolvent. So you need to own something that nobody knows that you own, that could be put aside, preserve your capital, and it also goes up in value. So just look at what Randy just spoke about today. The thing is that the pink diamond that sold for $39 million, I mean, look at the profit that was made on that diamond over a fairly short period of time. And then look at the white diamond. That it basically tripled in 4 years. And that's what these diamonds do. The worse these situations get in the paper asset markets, the more and more and more these diamonds go up in value. There's never been a more important time to be into diamonds because they're about the best investment that you can make that's private, portable, real estate in your pocket. And the fact is that you don't have to buy a multi-million-dollar diamond in order to make money in the market. In fact, the featured diamond that we're showing this week is one of the rarest diamonds you'll ever see and ever have the opportunity to buy, and it's not a multi-million-dollar diamond. In fact, it will be eventually, but right now, you know, a diamond like that sells in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. Why? Because it's round and it's vivid in color and it's an argyle pink. It's almost red in color. That's how magnificent that diamond is. That diamond will do nothing but go up in value. In actual fact, that diamond will start to double every couple of years in value, and the mine is going to close in 5 years. As we get to the mine and it closes down, a diamond like that could be a $3-4 million diamond. Don't forget, at last year's Argyle tender, it was a 1.32 carat Argyle Siren diamond. It was only a carat 32. It sold for $2 million. That diamond in 10 years from now will be worth 5 times that amount of money. We recommend Argyle pink diamonds. The mine that produces 95% of them is about to close, and all those diamonds will be gone. I have a client that purchased a round, brilliant, vivid diamond 5 years ago for $50,000, and now that diamond is up to $250,000. That's how much these diamonds have gone up in the last 5 years, but that's nothing compared to what's going to happen over the next 5 to 7 years because the mine is going to close. And we can either sit back and watch it happen and say, oh my God, I had an opportunity and I didn't take advantage of it, or you can take some of your money that's in risk sitting in your bank and sitting in the stock markets and put it into an asset that is probably one of the most important investments that you could ever make at this point. I've got Argyle pink diamonds starting at $20,000, $25,000. They go up into the millions, but you do not have to spend 7 figures or even heavy 6 figures to make a lot of money in the diamond market. We have diamonds that start at $15,000 and have a track record. We have yellow flawless diamonds that basically double every 5 years. They never, ever go down in value. If they're yellow flawless, fancy yellow, fancy intense, fancy vivid, those diamonds are very, very rare, extremely difficult to get, and do nothing but go up in price. And in 1980, when we had high inflation, they went up 500%. So when you talk about diamonds that are profitable, in 1980, you could have made a $500 investment and bought a 1-carat yellow flawless diamond. Today, that diamond's worth $20,000. $20,000 on a $500 investment. I was out for dinner with my wife and her girlfriend and her husband, and she was wearing a 5-carat pink diamond ring. And I was just in love with this ring. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I said, what's the history of that? Whose was it? And she says it was her grandmother's. She bought it 50 years ago for $35,000. I said, do you know how much that diamond is worth now? And she said, no, I don't. I told her it was worth $3.5 million. So over a 50-year period, a $35,000 diamond turned into a $3.5 million diamond, and that diamond will continue to increase in value. Now, the grandmother may not have sold it, but she did the right thing. She handed it down from generation to generation. A red diamond in 1950 sold for $20,000. His wife sold it in 1985, 35 years later, for $960,000, and now the Hancock red is worth $3 to $4 million. That's what these diamonds do. The longer you hold them, the more and more money you're going to make. If you buy a diamond today and sell it in a year from now, you're wasting your time. You're not going to make any money. You want to put a diamond away for safety. You want to put a diamond away for profit. You want to put a diamond away for capital preservation, and the banks can't steal that from you. They can steal your money, but they can't steal your diamond. And the fact is that these yellow flawless diamonds are phenomenal investments. Most people know that listen to the radio show. My children had them growing up. My grandchildren have them now. The Argyle pinks, we could see 800 to 1,000% return on our pink diamonds over the next 10 years. You tell me any other investment that can give you that type of return with the safety that you have in the pink diamond market. And again, I've got the fancy light pinks, the fancy intense pinks, the fancy deep, and the fancy vivids. We have more Argyle pink diamonds than any dealer in the world, and that's the reason is that I believe in these diamonds so much that we just put up $40 million to buy all of the Argyle pink diamonds that we can. If you look on my website, and look it up under loose diamonds. If you go to rarecoloreddiamonds.com, look in the loose diamonds section, take a look at our beautiful yellow diamonds, but then look at our pink diamonds. You're going to see the most beautiful pink diamonds you've ever seen. They start at about $20,000. They go all the way up into the 7 figures. Most of our clients that invest in diamonds invest under $100,000. You can do very, very well in this market for $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000. And again, you can have an asset that will do nothing but go up in value, but most importantly, never drop in price because there is none of these diamonds available. So, again, I promised our new inventory. However, the way that we had them delivered from Argyle was we had to match up every single diamond with the GIA report by looking at the laser inscription. So it's taken us a little bit longer to get our videos up, but we have 160 new Argyle pink diamonds going up on the website, and those are only available to our clients. These are amongst the best investments you could ever make. And again, look what that $39 million diamond sold for, and look where it was, 40 years ago. The other markets you want to look at, which Randy brought up, which most people didn't even know about before till we brought it up to you, is the deep flawless white market. These are colorless diamonds. They're 10 times as expensive as a normal white diamond, and they represent 0.001% of the market. The example that Randy gave you, that diamond tripled in 3 years. Tripled in price in 3 years. These diamonds are actually used as currency in Europe, and with this new diamond fund that's coming out, that's just actually started purchasing, and I know that because we supply them with their diamonds, these deflawless whites can go up by 20-25% a year, and there's going to be a tremendous shortage because the fund is going to eat them all up. You can buy these diamonds starting at about $70,000 a carat and going up from there. They're expensive, but they're one of the best investments you could possibly make. And again, the banks in Europe accept these as currency. That should tell you how valuable these diamonds are. And again, at the last auction, they just sold for triple what they were supposed to sell for. On top of that, that happens almost every single auction. If you look at what Christie's and Sotheby's estimate that their diamonds are going to sell for, and you see what they actually do sell for, you would say to yourself, do they not know what they're talking about? But I can assure you that they definitely do. And it's just a sign of the times. The fact is that these diamonds are skyrocketing in price because people are petrified to keep their money in the paper asset market. And now that we know that the banks can steal our money, it's come out, it's in the media. The Canadian government has accepted that model, as has U.S. banks. Again, I would not keep a ton of money sitting in the bank at this point. Again, it's a frightening situation to think what's happening anyways. We saw what they did to gold and silver this week. Let's not let them do that to our cash in the bank. Again, I'm a firm believer in gold and silver. I haven't sold any of my gold and silver, and I do believe that we are going to come back and see new highs in this market in the coming years. On top of that, the diamond market is exploding, and most of the money that I invest goes back into diamonds. Number one, because it's my business and I need to take care of my clients, but number two, it's the safest place to have your money at this time, and over the longer term, we're going to make a fortune in the diamond market. Yellow flawless diamonds start at $15,000. They double every 5 years. They never, ever go down in value, and they respond to inflation as well as gold and silver does. Argyle pink diamonds can return 8 to 10 times your money, meaning a $50,000 diamond could be a $400,000 to $500,000 diamond in the next 10 years because there will not be any more of these pink diamonds, and this new diamond fund is eating up all the deflawless white diamonds available. Get those diamonds while you can because they'll make you a ton of money, and they're safe as can be. Randy, the auction results that came from the auctions this week were absolutely phenomenal. Why don't you bring us up to date on some of the returns from these auctions? Because, again, it's going to tell our listeners the true reason why you want to be in the diamond market. And just before Randy does that, understand that we own our own auction business. We built it as the only secondary market to resell our clients' diamonds, and we will soon have locations not only in North America, which we already do, but in Panama, in London, England, in Hong Kong, and in Dubai. And the reason that we do that is to bring on high net worth individuals so our clients can sell their diamonds overseas. And number two, the British pound is worth 40% more than the U.S. and Canadian dollar. I want to sell your diamonds in British pounds and not only make you money on the diamond, but on the currency market also.
All right. This was from Christie's. And Christie's, they were the ones with the... And I would really encourage you to get our newsletter from Herald this week. We have the diamond section. We'll send it to you. You'll see our featured diamond, a 6-0 round, a brilliant cut, fancy vivid purplish pink from Argyle. But you'll also see that Princey diamond, the rare Indian gem selling for $39 million. Think about it. In 53 years, it went from 46,000 British pounds, 70,000 U.S. dollars, to $39 million. Take a look at that. We also have from that auction, Lot 139, a diamond ring by Harry Winston. This is a white diamond now, and the estimate on it was $500,000 to $700,000. It went for $987,750. Also, Lot 151, a colored diamond, emerald, and diamond ring. And it was just a stunning yellow diamond, approximately 9.72 carats. The estimate on it, this is one that really caught my attention. $180,000 to $220,000. It went for we'll round it up just a bit. It was $699,750, so roughly $700,000. And the auction results from Christie's went on from there. Then we had that 74-carat D Flawless that Harold has told us about for a long time. And just imagine that in 2001, here we are 12 years later, it sold for, originally, it sold for $4.3 in 2001. Here we are 12 years later, $14.2 million. But it gets better because there was another white diamond, lot 203, platinum and diamond ring. The estimate on it, $650,000 to $850,000. It went for $2.2 million. You heard right, $2.2 million. There was also a platinum fancy blue diamond and diamond ring from Hayden W. Wheeler and Company out of New York City. The estimate on it, $120,000 to $140,000 US dollars, sold for $425,000 US. Harold, this is a week. Please, oh please, get our newsletter from Harold. Connect with him, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Call him. Learn about this exciting diamond market. 1-800-432-1022. Must remind you again, Friday, April 26th, Harold will be on the CBC, Lang and O'Leary Exchange with obviously Amanda Lang. They were both on the Canadian Business Channel, switched over to the CBC. Kevin, famous for the Shark Tank in the States, Dragon's Den in Canada. Mr. Wonderful Uncle Kevin, as he likes to call himself. He's just so warm and fuzzy. And I love the Dragon's Den. Watch it every week. They just had their season finale. Watch the Shark Tank too. Love that show. And Harold, we look forward to you getting on there. We have about 3 minutes left in our show, but we really can't encourage people enough to get involved in this market now. Now is the time.
You bet. Very excited to be coming up to Toronto, my hometown, to do the show next week, and again to see family and friends. Again, I'm just so enthused about what's happening in the diamond market, and again, it's never, ever been more important than it is right now. Please understand what's happening in the markets, and what happened with gold and silver this week was actually orchestrated. There's no way that the markets normally would trade that way. Again, you need to be diversified. We need to be safe financially because one bad move can wipe you out. Get out of some of your risky investments that are in stocks and in paper assets and cash, and get something into a diamond while you can. It's one of the best investments you could ever make, especially right now.
And I know that we're not going to give anything away, but Harold, he will have a few surprises when he's on the Lang and O'Leary Exchange. The most secure and profitable investment, millions of years in the making, rare-colored diamonds. They're nature's art. Private, portable, stable wealth. Speak with Harold about our featured diamond this week of 0.60, round, brilliant, cut, fancy, vivid, purplish pink argyle. Absolutely stunning. Get the auction results from Sotheby's and Christie's. This is a week where you need to learn more about investing in diamonds. RareColoredDiamonds.com is the website. RareColoredDiamonds.com, the website. Telephone number to connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022. And Harold, we have about 1 minute left for your summary of the week.
Well, again, I'd like to see, I don't think that all the action in the market is over yet. I looked at the Commitment of Traders report. Most of the short positions are out of the market, so I think we're very close to the bottom of this market. 1,300 gold is heavy support, 22 and 2150 silver is heavy support, and I think that things are going to turn around for us, and we're still going to end up doing tremendously well. Again, don't get emotional about this. I know I did today, but I was just mad that they did this type of thing. I'm still extremely bullish on gold, silver, and diamonds.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel.
It's my pleasure. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
To invest in precious metals, the company Harold recommends you use, Worldwide Precious Metals, wwpmc.com, the website, telephone number 1-866-623-2002. They have reduced their fees to get involved in this market due to all the heavy demand that they're experiencing. They want to help you out. Start your own precious metals investment account today or add to your position. Speak with them about these markets. Get our newsletter from them. Now is the time to invest in gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Harold, he'll be on Lang & O'Leary Exchange Friday, April 26th. Watch Harold on Lang & O'Leary Exchange, and definitely connect with him at rarecoloreddiamonds.com or 1-800-432-1022. That's it, another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.